However, that's how the result stands. And here we have the third heat of the men's lightweight doubles. Same form, 2 to go through. I'll read it across for you. Lane 1, Canada. Lane 2, Denmark. Lane 3, Switzerland. Lane 4, Australia. Lane 5, Great Britain. And lane 6, Holland, closest to us.
And again, some high-class pedigrees here. It's the Swiss and the Australians that we're going to be looking to make the early form. The Swiss, the Gear brothers, Michael and Marcus, silver placed at Lucerne, but medalled every year for the last 2 years, silver in '93 and bronze again last year. And the Australians, Anthony Edwards and Bruce Hick, this is their first season together in the lightweight double, but tremendously successful so far. They took gold at Lucerne. Hick himself took gold in this event with his previous partner, Gary Liner. That was back in 2 years ago in '93. And Tony Edwards has come out of the 5th placed Australian lightweight quad from last year. So looking good together. British double and new pairing, Carl Smith and Andy Sinton. So far this season, right up and including Lucerne, it was Carl Smith and Peter Haining who were going to be the British nominated double. But when they failed to make the even the small final, it was reckoned that Carl Smith, who medalled in this event as long ago as 1986 with
Alan Whitwell.
Alan Whitwell, thank you, John. Memory failed me for an instant. But yes, Carl Smith would do better off with Andy Sinton, who came out of last year's 6th place double with Stuart Whitelaw. So this double having their first hard outing together. It's a bit of pressure to go into your first regatta as a crew and find it's the World Championships.
They obviously two very experienced competitors, so they'll know what's required of them through this. And I think it's fair to say that quite a lot's hope for them. The early leaders, Australia, Switzerland in 2nd place, at the moment occupying those 2 qualifying places, but I think we'll find as the camera pans back, there's actually very little in it behind them. A long way to go in this race, as we've seen. There's very little to choose between these lightweight doubles. Wonderful racing we're being treated to here.
Yes, Canada in 3rd place. That's a new lineup for Canada this year. Jeff Hilton, the bowman. He took 9th 2 years ago in Prague with John Murphy. They weren't at Lucerne, so no Western European form to go on this season. And as this 3rd semi-final for lightweight men's doubles comes down into the 2nd half, you can see the rain once again beginning to bucket down. And that downpour that we witnessed earlier in the day, it only lasted 20 minutes, but rumour has it that it filled the lake up by another couple of inches. It certainly did enough to destroy the roof of the press tent, and the journalists got an absolute soaking.
Well, as I was saying earlier on, although the competitors won't mind the lighter rain, certainly keep the course much flatter and cool them down a little bit. In the sculling events, it's not terribly welcome because these grips that they use, they're rubber grips with a fascia on the grip to enable them to have an even closer grip, but it starts to get very, very difficult to hold. And what happens is that you have to hold the skull that much harder, and what happens is you end up with your forearms starting to seize. So if you get a slight headwind and quite a lot of rain, it can be extremely uncomfortable in these sculling events.
That's right, John, because of course at the recovery of the stroke, the grip lessens quite significantly as the hands come forward. People not involved with rowing may not realize that in fact you don't grip the oar handle or sculling handle tightly all the time. You really ease off the pressure as you recover and come forward with the blades. And as you say, when it gets wet, that's just not possible.
That's why sometimes you see when these scullers clip one of the buoys on the course, they quite commonly lose grip of the skull. Anyway, we're coming through to the meat of the race here, and the Australians maintaining their lead over the Swiss double. They're holding those 2 qualifying positions. Well, Carl Smith in the British double scull in the, for him, slightly uncommon position of bringing up the rear in this field. He's not used to that. Really very uncomfortable conditions here. I'll be very surprised if we see much change in the positions through this sort of weather.
So the Lucerne forecast was correct, and it's Australia leading the way home ahead of the Gear brothers of Switzerland, holding on to the 2 qualifying slots for Sunday's grand final with 250 meters to go and a length and a half of clear water between themselves and the Netherlands on the near side, who are in 3rd position at the moment. Denmark currently in 4th place, it looks. Canada and Great Britain vying for 5th position.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised to see much material change in these positions down this last 10 or 15 strokes. I think everyone will be glad to get this race over and done with. Remains to be seen whether they continue the racing after this. It's certainly looking very difficult.
So Australia across the line, 2/3 of a length ahead of Switzerland. They're the qualifiers for Sunday's grand final of men's lightweight doubles.
Holland 3rd, with Denmark in 4th. I think Britain just got 5th ahead of a slightly dejected-looking Canadian double over on the far side. Confirmation there of that semi-final, Australia winning. Switzerland 2nd, Netherlands in 3rd.